So less than about 30 minutes or so, give or take, about a half an hour or so. A huge upset, arguably, probably the biggest upset of the year so far. Tszyu lost to Bakhram Murtazaliev. Not only did Tszyu lose, he got annihilated. How many times did he drop Big J? Was it 3 times or 4 times before the stoppage?
Five times before the corner. The ref was disgusting. The ref should have stopped that fight.
Yeah.
The corner finally got off her ass and protected Tim, which they've been struggling to do since the Fendora fight. So a lot of questions are being asked now, and No Limit will absolutely be shitting in their pants because their golden goose is now cooked, and they got no one to replace him.
See, the question is, it's like, okay, it's still fresh. It just happened a half an hour ago. They haven't even started the post-fight press conference. They're probably just getting drug tested, and it hasn't probably even really sunk in yet. But he didn't just lose. He got beat down, and he got the shit beat out of him. And what we saw was he was trying to walk through Bakhram Murtazaliev. Now, we knew, at least I did, the way they were throwing lever in round number 1, I was like, okay, Tim needs to be careful. Because I never seen Bakhram Murtazaliev like that. And as I was saying, I hinted on it in our last video that we did, our Fight Week preview, is that Murtazaliev, when he fought Jack Kuke, I was really hard on him in my post-fight video. And the reason why is because for people who've seen that fight, he looked like shit. And Jack Kuke is not a good fighter at this stage in his career. So him going life and death with Jack Kuke before he ended up stopping Jack Kuke had me looking at Murtazaliev like, okay, you know what? There's a big question mark around you. And right now you're looking like food and the weakest link of the 154-pound champions. This was, of course, before Terence Crawford beat Israel Madrimov. But it wasn't until post-fight, and as you can see the cards right there for the Jack Kuke fight, is he was up on one card 99 and 91, and another card 96-94, and then it went one way towards 96-95 for Kuke. So basically on 2 cards, it was split. But the point is, he was 27 days into the month of Ramadan. And what that means is, in his religion, he wasn't allowed to eat or drink anything when the sun was up. I'm talking about he had to get everything, even brush his teeth before the sun came up in the morning. So he's in training camp, in cutting weight, having a weigh-in, and not able to drink a lot of water. And there you go. Some may say or argue, just like I'm saying now, is that's why he looked like that. Now, before anybody's going to come out here on the internet and try to clown you and say, oh, well, I've been knew Murtazaliev was good and all that. Maybe some have. But I covered and watched Murtazaliev years ago. But then after that, he went on a series of dark matches. And what dark matches mean is it's a wrestling term, a sports entertainment term, where the wrestlers were fighting untelevised matches where they don't get no exposure to fans. And Murtazaliev was fighting in untelevised dark matches for a good 3+ years. And then before that, he was deep in undercards. He's been a main event fighter, and not main event Australia, the broadcaster, but main event here in the States, who used to promote Sergey Kovalev, fighters like Jean Pascal. They even had Dmitry Bivol. It's headed by Kathy Duva, the daughter of the acclaimed Lou Duva, rest in peace. So I guess what I'm saying is we didn't really know who this guy was, but we found out who he is tonight. It's funny how, like yesterday, people were saying, he's going to get annihilated, and now he's being looked at as like, well, wait a minute. Now I want to see him versus Terence Crawford. I would rather see him, and this is me now speaking from my personal opinion, I would rather see Murtazaliev versus Crawford than Crawford versus Fendora. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, is that, look, let's face the facts. Tim was never as good as everyone thought he was. He was a hype train, and it finally took till now for it to be derailed. And that cut That cut will plague him for the rest of his career until he gets it under wraps. Right? It didn't get busted up again tonight, but you saw the second he got hit in the head where that cut was, he stopped, he looked at it and went, hang on, am I bleeding?
Yeah.
No, okay.
That was in round number one.
Plague him. Pretty much from that, the entire fight was pretty much over. That cut is going to plague him for the rest of his career. So, unless he gets it under wraps, unless he finds a way to get past it, right, that cut is going to, play a massive thing on him. And he needs to move to middleweight tomorrow. He's got nothing left at 154. PBC will dump him by the end of the week. What are they going to do with him now? All right, he's lost not one but two world title fights.
Back to back. He got his ass absolutely handed to him this afternoon. Or tonight. I know it's nighttime in the States. Yeah,
it's,
little past 11 p.m. here. The fight ended about 40 minutes or so ago.
All right, so he got his ass absolutely handed to him by what everyone considered, including us, was the weakest champion of the division, who just went out and annihilated him. Right? He is done at 154. He needs to move up to 160, only because it's such a weak division.
Yeah.
Such a weak division. And he needs to go after either Lara or Carlos Adonis or whatever his name is. Don't go after Genovic, because Genovic will clean his clock as well.
But where do you go next? Do you rebuild him? Let's say, for example, do you have him get his confidence back against a journeyman? Or do you fight top 15? What's the starting point? Because this is devastating. It hasn't really sunken in yet to the boxing world, but it shook up the 154, and we were talking about eventually he was going to move up and the 160 pound division as well. So, what in your opinion, what should be the first move? What should he do?
Andre Mikhailovich, I think, because he's just coming off a world title fight. Or someone in the top 15. Remember when Jason Maloney lost and then he fought a top 15 guy? You cannot go back to Australia and fight domestic level fighters, right? Yeah. Look at Tim's resume, full of has-beens and never will-be's, right from the get-go.
Okay, so let's go back to where he first stepped on the global scene.
Joel Camilleri onwards, right? Joel Camilleri will never be a world champion, right? Dwight Ritchie, we don't know because he's no longer with us. Rest in peace. So I'm not going to say anything about him because he's no longer with us and he died and he's like 28 years old. So move on.
Jack Brubaker.
Jack Brubaker never will be. Retired, right?
Jeff Horn, long in the tooth. End of his career.
Yeah, it has been.
They
shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Bowen Morgan.
So much class in his jaw could be a chandelier. Knocked him out in one round. Blown up, washed up welterweight.
Dennis Hogan.
Well past his best, even though he went on to go win the IBO title after that. Yeah. Still not at his peak.
Steven Spark.
Not at his peak. Blown up super lightweight.
Takashi Inoue was a straight come forward pressure fighter, no technique. Yeah. It was tailor made for a guy like Tszyu.
Yeah, and yet Tim couldn't put him down. Yeah. Beat him over 12 rounds, but Tim couldn't put him down.
He got dropped by Terrell Goucher, but Terrell Goucher he's never a threat to anybody, really.
Yeah. Never will be. Terrell Goucher's never will be. Harrison was or has been. Hasn't fought since. Carlson Campo never will be. Brian Mendoza never will be. See, Tim has a lot of C and lower B grade wins. He doesn't have an A grade win. Today was his chance to get an A grade win, right? Well, some people wouldn't even consider Tszyu Murtazaliev an A grade fighter. They do now.
Yeah.
Right? And he got his ass absolutely handed to him, right? And people are going to say, boxing fans in Australia, what the fuck do we do now? I'll tell you what you do. You back Giant Pataya, who can actually win a belt. You back Liam Paro, who can actually win a belt. Not get handed one, right? Actually earn their belt. Remember, Tim never won his belt. He got handed to him. right? And he beat Never Will Be and Brian Mendoza defending
and it was nepotism.
Okay?
It was because of we know it was because of his father. Like they screwed who was it? Magomed Kabanov and gave it to Tszyu. I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I wish this happened 4 or 5 fights ago because I could really sink the boots in. But now it's like, well, it was because of the cut. I'm putting it down. It's because that cut is living in his head, well, literally rent free. That is going to, until he gets over that, I think that's going to be his one big foul. I think now everyone knows it because everyone knows that's his weakness.
Listen, funny enough, on the main event page 7 minutes ago, they uploaded a clip and it says the title of it is Psychological Scar Tissue Ruins Tszyu. That's just what you were talking about. And it shows the clip of Tszyu touching his glove to his head.
Yep, that's it. Once a fighter's psyche is damaged, he's done.
Yeah.
Right? Because Tim got up, ton of guts, kept on getting back up, but the fight was done before that. Because the second he checked his head, that was it. So
he was really concerned. He dropped his hands and everything. Defend yourself at all times.
Exactly. So is he done? All these people are going to say, oh, well, yes, he never was as good as everyone thought he was. We all knew that. He'll never be as good as his father, so can please stop that bullshit argument, right? Is he done yet? No. He just needs to get over the cut, move up to 160, and go from there. He's only 29 years old. For all these idiots are saying, if there is anyone out there saying that he's done, which is bullshit because he's not, right? He's only 29. He just moves up to 160. He should fight a high-level ranking fighter. Stay away from Mixer-Rafa. Mixer-Rafa is never going to let this die. I shudder to think what's going to happen now. But I think No Limit will be going, well, now what the hell do we do? Because Matteo Tapia lost that fight. How the fuck can a bloke get knocked down 3 times and get a draw?
Yeah, how about that?
He lost. He lost that fight. That was just saving face. Because they thought Matteo Tapia would come out, kick the shit out of old mate, right? And he got his ass handed to him. So No Limits has had a terrible, terrible night. And the worst thing is they've got no one to replace these guys. Nikita's too green.
Mm-hmm.
Nikita's too green, and he's got his own defensive problems. He's just like, he doesn't. None of the Tszyu boys know how to clinch. They don't know how to clinch.
Yeah.
Right? Tim's not as bad as Nikita, but
he was flailing about. It seemed like he was trying to, but couldn't get his hands on him, like like he was trying to handle a greasy fish or something.
Exactly. And talk of a new trainer. Well, maybe that would help. I mean, name one fighter besides Jeff Horn that had the same trainer their entire career. Not too many fighters do. So,
but does he stay in the States, or does he stay in the States and continue to build here? Because if he stays here, he's going on undercards. That's it. And he's going to have to accept who they give him. He'll be a co-feature. That's the next step for him. But main eventing, I don't think that's the case. Now, me personally, I always wanted to see him with Top Rank. I just think that they would have did him better with the ESPN machine, PBC, but we do know that that Top Rank didn't have a really hold on or any type of leverage in the 154-pound division. And if you want to fight 154-pound fighters, you had to be with PBC. But I'm just thinking, what does he do here in the States? What's the point of staying here and fighting in half-filled hotel, casino, or conference rooms, because there was a lot of empty seats in there, and understanding, that they had 2 hurricanes in that region, but at the end of the day, still, this fight wasn't doing well or projected to do well before then.
Well, that's the only saving grace for No Limit is that they can sort of try and sweep it under the, PBC can sweep it under the rug. Yeah. No Limit won't be able to, but PBC can just go, we'll just not worry about that. Yeah,
because they charge $70 for this fight for you guys over there. Like, that's, it's just...
Well, that's the other thing. None of these pay-per-views are worth $70, and that just proved why. You pay anyone who paid $70 for that, you just got ripped off. To see Tszyu get his ass handed to him in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So... I think Main Event have always had a bit of a hide on them, asking that sort of price. But I think the people will just stop paying it now, because now what? Go to Top Rank, go to 160, because Top Rank has a good hold on the 160 division, and also he can still fight in Australia on ESPN cards and still headline.
Yeah, how about that? There you go.
So, because Top Rank, over the last 7 years, who has held the best fights in Australia? Top Rank.
Top Rank, yeah. I mean, just
so,
looking politically, of course, the top of the food chain would be Alim Hanallah. He would be able to fight him because he's top ranked. Hamza Shiraz, he's with Frank Warren, but Frank Warren and Top Rank, they're in cahoots with the Saudis. Chris Eubank Jr., that fight would be available to him. And we talk about politically. Shane Mosley Jr., even if he wants to come back to get, as you said, Mikhailovich, he can fight him, who Alim Hanallah beat a few weeks ago. So there's a path there to build his name up. Hell, even if he fights Tapia, that's a fight that could possibly be made, for him to, get some confidence back, but personally, I think that he's done over here in the States. Unless he goes to Top Rank, I don't think that PBC has anything for him, because who's he going to fight? Lubin isn't going to fight him anymore. Lubin has no reason to fight him. Lubin's going to try to go after the title shot. Fandora, I mean, yeah, they can possibly in the future, but Fandora ain't going to fight. See, that's why he should have got his immediate rematch. He fucked up right there. They did him dirty. That was a bad decision. Yep. He should have went right back to that immediate rematch.
Yeah, well, I mean, they never should have took the Fandora fight in the first place. But anyway, PBC played No Limit like a fiddle. So PBC knew what they were doing.
And now look, he took a loss to two of their fighters. Well, Tszyu Murtazaliev, even though he's with Main Event, technically he's been a PBC fighter because he's been fighting on their cards for 4 years now. Yeah,
and watch what the offer PBC does to snap him up.
Yeah, I guarantee you, well, it's going to be a lot of money being thrown at Tszyu Murtazaliev, that's for sure. And once again, it's still political. It's still going to be political to hold on to that belt. So Tszyu is going to be an afterthought. And yeah, I do feel that PBC did Tim dirty, but at the same time, did they really? Because his team kept signing the contracts.
Exactly. They did it to themselves. So Tim needs to forget the 154 division. There's nothing left there for him because think all the ones now: Virgil Ortiz, Boachuk. Who else is up there? Boots, if he moves up.
Yeah, Israel Madrid.
All these guys are just all these guys are thinking he's just food. But I mean, this is the one thing that Australian boxing on a whole must do. You need to go overseas and fight overseas talent as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right? The domestic level stuff is no good because how many fighters have we seen that have padded their records up by fighting Aussie guys, go overseas, fight a champion, and get their ass handed to them?
That was happening to UK. That was happening to UK fighters a lot between like 2010 and 2020 or so. When they kept coming over here and getting mashed up.
Yeah. Australia is a great place to have a world title fight when you're a champion. So I want Jai and Liam to come over here, but they're going, the competition's overseas.
Yeah.
So in those divisions, especially in the cruiserweight and 140 division, there's no real competition at that world level in Australia.
Yeah,
not in those divisions.
And the crazy part about it is, the mystique and the fear that fighters had of Tszyu, if they did, it's gone.
It's now gone.
He lost to Fandora. He lost to Fandora, a fighter that people, let's be honest, people wasn't really high or fans. Never really looked at Fandora as being like a good, great boxer. It was more his size that was menacing that made him, like popular among fans, I guess. So he lost to Fandora, and then he got beat up by a guy who just came out of nowhere, who people didn't really get to see. So, other boxers are going to approach a Tszyu fight differently than they did before. Because it's like, he had a bit of a boogeyman status to him, a bit of one. And now that's all gone. It's gone. Nobody's scared of Tszyu no more. And nobody's going to be scared of Tszyu anymore.
Nah, they said that when he jumped in the ring. There's no fear of Tszyu now. Tszyu's just going to be looked at food now.
Yeah.
There's food.
And they know he can be dropped. You hit him clean. He can't defend against the left hook. and when he gets hit and he gets hurt or he gets dropped, he wants to try to get back immediately, and he throws all caution out the window, and then his defense gets even worse.
Exactly. Hang on, Tszyu Murtazaliev, is he a southpaw?
No.
Well, he's been dropped 3 times, all by left hooks.
Yeah.
Because remember, Wade Ryan's a southpaw. Is Terrell Goucher, was he a southpaw?
No.
But it was definitely a left hook.
Yes.
And so Tszyu Murtazaliev. So that left hook is Tim's Achilles heel.
Yeah.
All we have to do is left hook him. Because he's been dropped by the same 3 punches 3 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate that this has happened. It's turned Aussie boxing on its head, but it's just going to shift the attention now. Mm-hmm. It's like, and unfortunately, Tim's out of the 154 division. I don't think he'll ever get a world title shot again.
Not anymore. Like, for what? It's for one. Remember, it's too many people in front of him now.
Exactly. There's 20 people in front of him.
There's mandatories already lined up.
Exactly.
Crawford, WBO, and then it'll be Josh Kelly or Xander Zayas. Lubin and whoever is going to be for the IBF. Jamel Charlo is the WBA champion in recess and also is the WBA, so they do mandatories whenever they feel like it. Virgil Ortiz is the WBC interim, it's the title shots over there are gone.
Exactly. He needs to go to 160. 154 is done for him. He needs to go to 160. Simple as that. It's the only way he's ever going to get a world title shot. Right? And I think going after Chris Eubank Jr. is not a bad idea. So
yeah, So I think that he needs to have a 3-fight 2025. Try to get 4 if he can, even if they're 2 lower level and 1 and 2, 1 top 10 and then 1 top 5. He needs to have a busy 2025, and he needs to work on his defense because for one, he's got to rebuild on the PR side. And main event and No Limit needs him to rebuild because who else do they have that can sell any type of pay-per-views? Nobody. Paul Gallen's gone. Nobody.
Exactly. That's the thing. This is what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
No Limit. Remember, how many world champions does No Limit have currently?
Yeah, 0, right? None.
0. Where are all the world champions? With either Mick Francis or Angelo DiCarlo.
Yes, the biggest promotional company in Australia.
The country.
Yeah, in the country.
Has nobody.
Nobody.
There's no world champions. And besides Tim, no really world top contenders. Because as I said, Matteo Tapia just lost to a bloke that, well, how bad does that Isaac Harbin loss look for Isaac Harbin now?
Yeah.
Not only did old mate beat the shit out of Isaac Harbin, he beat the crap out of Matteo Tapia. He was supposed to easily beat this Venezuelan bloke. And Matteo Tapia got the crap kicked out of him. So, and they gave him a draw to save face.
Yeah.
I mean, what did they have, 93 the first card? That's God. There's no way he won that fight. No way. Old mate won that fight 6 rounds, 3-1 draw.
Or how about for the superstitious? Interesting stat that I didn't know was that this was the first fight that Costa's been to since Tim's debut in 2016. So both his brother and his father was there, and then they're both there, and he gets the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, well, for those superstitious people, I bet they'll think that's the last time Costa goes to one of his fights.
For real, right? Because
I don't think that's got anything to do with it. I'm saying it's because of the cut has psychological damage on Tim, and and the evidence was there. He checked the cut, and all of a sudden the fight changed on a dime.
Yeah.
So I think once he gets over that cut and he stops worrying about it, he'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So he's not done. He can rebuild. He's only 29. He needs to go to middle. He's done at 154. He just needs to go to middleweight and go from there.
Well, closing thoughts.
Turned Aussie boxing on its head. Not the result that we wanted. I mean, for world title fights, No Limit is 0 for 15?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and actually, no, Tim won against Ryan Mendoza, didn't he? So 1 in 16 world title fights. So, I think No Limit will be going, well, now what do we do? Because they can't rely on footy fights. Tim's not done. Anyone that says that he should retire is an idiot.
Yeah, but people are short-sighted. They're in the moment. They're saying he's exposed and all that. We can see where he lost. It was defensive mistakes. He kept getting hit with the same punch, and he tried to let his balls hang, tried to walk through the fire. If this guy's dropping you pretty much with ease, and you just keep walking towards him, walking into the shots, you're trying to walk him down. Your chin clearly can't take the punches that he's throwing to you, and you just keep walking into him.
And where was the body shots? There were no body shots.
Nothing.
Tim's a great body puncher.
Yeah.
He's abandoned his most valuable asset.
He tried to walk. He got too comfortable. Fighters do it. He tried to walk through this guy.
Yeah, well, big mistake. But Tszyu Murtazaliev has proved he's no joke. And I think if Crawford doesn't fight McGregor, which he most likely will, Tszyu Murtazaliev is right up there.
Yeah. And the Saudis will surely pay for the fight, but we're going to have to see what PBC does, because now, they got PBC don't want to lose that belt. So don't be surprised if Spence doesn't, as we talked about, if Spence doesn't fight Fedora, Charlo's going to fight Fedora, or Charlo's going to fight Murtazaliev, or Lubin's going to get that fight next. They're going to keep those fights in-house.
Absolutely. Well, you watch the massive contract and payday that they're going to give Tszyu Murtazaliev.
Yeah.
So they'll dump. By the end of the week, Murtazaliev will have a massive PBC deal, and Tim will be left out in the cold.
I know. So we're going to see. Hopefully, Tim, this doesn't get to him, because fighters can be one way in the ring. He seemed like he wasn't phased too much. He, pretty much, he didn't make any excuses. But hopefully, he doesn't go on a long layoff, because fighters, need to be active. And even though he took some damage, still, especially since you can say he's the face of Australian boxing right now. And now, Jai is going to be next, but right now the person who's selling is Tszyu. He's the fighter that's being plastered on the pay-per-views. I say getting back out there, make sure neurologically he's fine, and y'all got to start, pumping that machine, getting back active again. And one thing I wanted to say. Why the fuck was that doctor allowed to get in the ring? What was that bullshit? That was a blatant attempt to buy him time. Yeah, true. But I did think that at first, but also Tim's legs were really shaky.
Then he should have called the fight.
Yeah, his legs were really shaky.
He should have called the fight. The doctor's in the ring. That should be fight over.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a doctor get into the ring and do that.
No, I've seen it happen. It's rare, but I've seen it happen.
Oh, well, it didn't do him any good, because, he got leveled.
Yeah, well, he kept eating the same punch. He didn't make it. If your legs are shaky, who do you think you are to continue to walk down a fighter that keeps knocking you down? Your legs are not even stable under you. That goes to defensive IQ. He's got to work on that, man, or he's going to keep getting slept. Nobody's going to be scared of Tszyu no more. That's over.
Yeah, the fear of Tszyu is gone.
Yeah, that fear factor is
totally
gone.
Done. No one's going to be afraid of him anymore, and that's a good thing, because everyone will underestimate him, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
He's got to capitalize off of it. So, all right, you can follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. The link to my social media is right down below in the description box. And as you can see right here on the screen is Big J's Twitter at Old Mate Big J. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. You can expect another update from us in the next few days or so, as once again the fight just ended about an hour ago, so everything is still fresh, and we're waiting for the post-fight press conference to start, and we don't know what's going to happen within the next couple of days or so we're going to keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. This is TstreeT Controversy and Big J with 5U360.